I'm very grateful that you took the time to tune in to today's episode of The Kim Jacobs Show. Listen, we have a great show lined up for you. I'm your host, Kim Jacobs, better known as the Balance Doctor. And all of our guests that come on, they're either people that have overcome some tremendous odds in their own lives as they balance this thing called life, or they're experts and they're here to share tips and strategies that will help you better balance and manage your life. Grab your virtual seats and let's get ready for some real, relevant, and relatable content on today's episode of The Kim Jacobs Show. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of The Kim Jacobs Show. How are you, Holly, over there?
I am doing great, Miss Jacobs. How are you today?
Oh, I'm doing great. And guess what? You're in the aura and the energy that you bring to this particular episode, I could tell will balance me out because I'm like, hey, all right. And you're like, I'm doing great. How about you, sweetheart? So I think that we will do very well together to have some great synergy in today's discussion. I'm really glad to have you here. And we're going to be talking about changing the narrative of the African-American, the Black community. And I was intrigued by that topic. So I was like, oh, I can't wait to hear what she has to say. Yeah. It seems like you're going to have quite a bit to say today, but everyone grab your virtual seats and make sure that you share this broadcast. As soon as you get in your seat, hit share and let people know that they too can chime in and be a part of today's discussion. Let us know where you're visiting in from and type your comments, ask your questions, and just be engaged in the discussion today. If you would, Holly, in just a nutshell, tell everybody what we can expect from today's discussion with you.
So what you guys are going to expect from Holly Sisa, is the truth.
The truth.
You guys are going to get all facts. And hopefully by the end of all this, I have changed at least one person's mind. So.
Okay. Wow. So that narrative alone will get you ready to lock your seatbelt on and get ready for a roller coaster ride because you really don't know what's going to be happening throughout this episode. So definitely get your mind right and know that our episode sponsors today are quite a few groups, but I want to take a moment to just acknowledge Attorney Charles Everidge with Hunter Everidge Law Firm and encourage you if you're dealing with disability, workers' compensation, wrongful death of a loved one, make sure that you reach out to them. They are in the Carolinas area. They're also in the Richmond, Virginia area, and they are in the Alabama area now. So please make sure you let them know that the Kim Jacobs Show sent you their way. And we're going to take a commercial break, hear from our episode sponsor, and then we'll be right back right after this break.
I'm Attorney Charles Everidge. I started out representing insurance companies until my father was seriously injured at work. 4 of his fingers were amputated. Our family went through a lot, so I know what you're going through as an injured worker. If you've been hurt on the job, call me now. I'll fight to get the workers' comp benefits you may deserve. I'll fight for you like family. Put my experience to work for you. Call 704-457-5000, the first call for injured workers.
Everyone, we're back and we're talking with Holly Sisa today, and we're talking about how to change the narrative of the African American community. And so I think that's when you even just say that, that's a mouthful. What do you think the current narrative is? Because if you're changing something, you need to be changing it from something else. So what do you think is the current narrative from your perspective?
The current narrative is we hurt each other, we kill each other, we try to blame the man instead of looking inward and fixing ourselves.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Well, Holly Sisa is 30 years old. She's a mom, and she's a mom of 2 toddlers, Serenity and Sincere, and she's a podcaster as well behind the podcast Morning Mimosas, valuing criminal justice and promoting healing and education for the Black community. And she's big on this due to some of the injustices that she's personally experienced. And she really wants the whole community to change as a whole. So it's some things that she has as personal goals that we're going to learn about, and some of the injustices that she's personally experienced. So Holly, wow, because now I know, I told you I'm not good at faking. Once I know something, I know it, and it's hard for me to unknow it. You went through some things in your own personal life that brought you to where you are today. If you would, take us back and just talk to us about your journey and some of the injustices you've experienced.
So it all started back in 2007. I was in love with this teenage boy, and he wasn't in love with me. But long story short, I got pregnant, and because I was underage, I wasn't able to get like a regular job. So I went to the streets to make my money, and I did that while I was pregnant. Long story short, I didn't really want my baby, so I drank my whole pregnancy, but that had no effect. She still was born July 17th of 2008. And I looked at her and I was the happiest teenage mom in the world. And I thought, like, this is my chance to maybe get out of this life, And just a note, I was doing all this under the nose of my family. I would sneak out of my house at night. I would disguise the bed. You know how kids are sneaky,
Yes.
Make the bed like a human and stuff.
I was going to ask you that. Did anybody know that you were at this point in your life? You were feeling this low. You were struggling, drinking, doing everything. Nobody knew.
No, I mean, my sisters saw me drink every once in a while, but they didn't know how bad it was.
Interesting.
So I lived this secret life, and it all came to a head 2 weeks later on July 31st. I went to the local grocery store to get my baby milk and found her floating face down in a bathtub.
Was anybody with her?
Yeah, it was other. I mean, I hate to use this word. Other prostitutes that were there, but they were on drugs. I wasn't a heavy drug user. I was a pill popper back then, but they they were doing those other things, and I guess they wanted to see my baby swim, and they put her in the tub. The investigation into that was a complete joke. They just looked at me as a teenage prostitute who was a bad mom, and then it was deemed an accident. And that was that. No further investigation. They think it's solved. It's not solved. The two girls that did it, I haven't seen them since I was 15. Don't know where they are. Don't know if they're alive. Don't know if they're dead. But,
did anyone ever admit to doing this? But your daughter was not in the tub when you went to go to the store.
No.
So when you came back, this is how you discovered your daughter. And you found out then that these two individuals did this, put her in the tub.
And the thing about my life that's a little bit different. So I was born to African parents.
Okay.
And I had to keep all of this a secret, obviously, until this occurred. But
so your parents didn't know that you were pregnant? What? So the whole time you lived at home, but you were pregnant, and they never knew that you were. You would just wear extra stuff or what, and cover it. So when did your parents find out that you were with child?
After her death, and they were trying to get me a therapist in high school. The social worker brought my mother and father to talk about the story that I had told, and my social worker, I wish I knew where she was. She was one of the best women. When I went through that, she was more like a mom and a dad to me during that, because I can talk to her about that. I couldn't talk to my parents about that,
Right.
because my father was just really judgmental. He's like, "Oh, why didn't you tell someone? Why were you pregnant? Who was the father?" Even though he knew who the father was. He knew who I was dealing with. So, they got me a therapist, and I just remember the therapist. We were in the principal's office, sitting there, and I just remember her. She was a Black woman, short hair, pink shirt, red and pink skirt with roses. I'll never forget her with that pad that she had in her hand, just writing as I'm talking. And I was telling her, I'm like, "Are you listening to anything I'm saying?"
Right.
And she's like, "Yeah." She's like, "Yeah, I'm just writing stuff down." I walked out of that session so fast, and I ran to the social worker, and I told her, I was like, "That therapist does not care about what I'm saying." I was like, "And this is therapy?" And just drank for therapy at that point.
So, okay. So at 15 years old, you already had a situation where your life was taking a turn that you were like, I'm just going to deal with it the way that I need to deal with life to get through life, because you were dating someone that you got pregnant by, and you realized he really wasn't for you as you were for him. And that sent some things out into a spiral situation. But then to have your daughter, who you finally do give birth to, and she is actually a bright light in your life, right?
My butterfly.
Yeah. So when you had her, and I don't know her name, so I don't want. That's why I'm saying her.
Jemiah. Her name was
Jemiah.
Jemiah was her name.
Jemiah. So when you had Jemiah, and she became your beautiful butterfly, and you had the opportunity to hold her and to try to provide for her, your means of providing was the best you knew how, which was to go to the street. What advice, because there are a lot of women, mothers that are watching, and teenage girls that will get privy to this information. What advice would you give teenage girls that do find themselves in a predicament that they don't know what to do at this point? What advice would you give them if they're in a similar situation?
Well, it's 2023. So 15 years ago was a lot different, but now don't be quiet.
Don't be quiet. Speak up.
Don't let nobody silence you. Let me tell you something. We're all humans. We all make mistakes. And you shouldn't be shunned because of a mistake. And that's one of the biggest things I'm trying to get through, especially to African parents. You shouldn't shun your children because they made a mistake. What is it? He who cast the stone first, I think,
Right.
applies.
He who is without sin, let him cast the
stone.
first stone. But that means everybody dropped the stone and went on about their business, because it's like, I know you're not about to throw no stone over here, given your circumstances and situations. I don't have any stones to throw at anybody. So all of mine are just dropped right on the ground and walking away, for sure. That's a good analogy. Okay. So don't shun your children, and children, speak up if you have a situation. Try not to just turn to where you're isolated and alone and dealing with it on your own, whatever means necessary in that theory, because there are people that love you. There are people that care about you. And even if you're having difficulties with your parents per se, their extended family members, somebody, even if it's a family friend, will care enough about you and your life to help, I believe. Do you think that, Holly?
Yeah, I believe that.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say this. I am going to play devil's advocate. You have to be mindful of your family as well. Unfortunately, they say blood is thicker than water, but that's not always the case. You just have to be mindful of everyone around you, including your own family members.
Interesting. When you say that, are you saying that from a specific place of personal experience? Or
Of course. Yeah, personal experience. I love my family. My sisters are amazing. I love my mother. My mother is amazing. I love my nieces and nephews. They're amazing. But you just have to just be careful of just other family members who always talk negatively about you,
right,
and don't know what your destiny is.
And you know what? And it's not even for everyone to know what our destiny is. There are people that you could be a bright light in a family, and literally people can see some of the positive and very effective things that's happened through your life, and still you get dogged out. You're like, oh, look at her. She fake. She just like, okay, you can't, you know what? You can't win regardless in some situations, whether you are downtrodden or whether you high trotting. It does not matter in every situation. So what I've learned is that at the end of the day, to create my own narrative, that I know and God knows what my intentions are. He knows exactly what he's equipped me to do and what he's called me to accomplish on this earth. And everybody will not agree with what it is that I've been assigned to do. They weren't assigned that mission. So you cannot expect for somebody to understand what you've been given if that's not what God told them to do. You know? So that's just my theory.
Okay, I agree. I agree. It's
wow. Okay, listen, Kay says, because we're going to be, I'm sure, having a lot of comments coming in this morning. So let's go throughout the broadcast to check in. Kay says, wow, Holly, you are coming in hot. Part of changing the narrative does require us to acknowledge our power. And Fizz Book Teasdale says, yes, I am dialed in. And Heal with Harley is sending love and emojis, and people are saying good morning. I see all of your comments. Keep them coming in, and we're going to keep sharing them throughout the broadcast. Good morning and happy Tuesday from Florida, Vanita said. Dr. Connie Green, she has wisdom tips from Dr. Connie Green, a show that you'll love. And I'm definitely thinking you'll be a great guest to be on her show too.
Let's hook it up.
Yes, seriously. She actually witnessed her. I'm not going to share her whole story, but one of her parents killed another one of her parents. And it's crazy. It's a crazy story. So you want to definitely connect with Dr. Connie Green. If you all have not, please check that show out.
Dr. Connie Green, please reach out to Holly Sisa. I definitely would like to speak to you for sure.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
I am too. Yeah. Yeah. The MTS Network said during this broadcast, you can support the page by sending stars, a digital gift that supports the network. And if you enjoy our show, share our page with friends. The MTS Network, I'm not sure who the MTS Network is. That's you.
That's the network that I am.
Yes. Okay. So support
the network I'm a part of.
That's you all. Yes, y'all go over and support the MTS Network for sure. That is represented by Holly Sisa. And so you definitely want to check out her podcast and be a part of what she's promoting here. All right. So I see lots of comments. Let's see. Kay said, thank you for sharing. Your strength is a pivotal turning point in your life and everyone that gets the pleasure to be close to you. So
Thank you, Kay.
Jemiah, how do you, I'm sure so many years later, this is in 2008, you said, right? 2008, your beautiful butterfly arrived and you continue her legacy in some regards, I'm sure. So whenever you do that, I would like to hear when we come back from this commercial break, how do you continue to carry her with you in spite of the murder, I'm assuming is what you would consider it, never being solved. So when we come back, we're going to learn more about that right after this break, everybody.
I have peace of mind with Silver Shield Security, which has been protecting my family and home, along with servicing the Carolinas for over a decade. Silver Shield Security knows the importance of convenience and safety. Whether you live in an apartment, a home, or run a business, they are here to protect you from unwanted intrusions and fires. Call now at 704-440-4688 or visit the website at www.silvershield-security.com. You can use my promo code #ToneX and get 1/2 off your installation price. Don't forget to ask about the new no money down options. Let Silver Shield Security help to give you peace of mind, just like me and my family, and keep your business safe.
So coming back here to the Kim Jacobs Show, we want to find out from you, Holly, how do you carry Jemiah's legacy and keep her going with you throughout your journey in life?
So, butterflies is my favorite insect, and she was my butterfly. My daughter and my son are also my little butterflies too. But I have like a whole bunch of like butterfly things that helps me going. My background initially, well, there's a butterfly here as well. Just butterflies. Just when I buy jewelry, I try to buy butterfly jewelry, and when I'm outside, I try to be one with the butterflies. There's a butterfly pavilion here that I really want to do like a photo shoot at, so I can just be one with the butterfly. And if I can explain why the butterfly
Yes,
is so
I want to hear it so badly. Please.
So when we're initially in the cocoon, I feel like that's us being stuck.
Yes.
And then we're trying to wiggle out of that cocoon, and then we come out of that cocoon and we're now free.
Yes.
There's
a lot of hard work to get through that cocoon. You had to struggle, get in tight spaces. It's just a lot for that butterfly to come to fruition. Wow. And so you carry her with you in the memory of butterflies as you acknowledge her to be in your life. Wow. Okay. I'm overwhelmed a little bit, to say the least. And I'm trying to get it together, but it's just a very disheartening situation, because I felt like that was a pivotal turning point in your life where you had made some conscious decisions to do some things to the best of your ability, even though you were still keeping it. And I wanted to just put this background up for a moment in honor of your daughter. Yeah. So I just wanted to put butterflies just to celebrate for a moment her daughter. We did not put a picture up of Jemiah, and that was intentional because that's something that she keeps very close to her own heart and her private moment. But this image behind here that you see is to honor Jemiah in her memory as she continues to live on through Holly and through her two children that are here on this earth as well. And even Jemiah is still celebrating her and being one of her cloud of witnesses. So I
Yeah. Sorry, y'all. We on live.
That's okay.
Yeah.
And you know what? Any program that we have, it can be altered for such a time as this is needed. Yeah.
All right.
That's perfectly fine. It's healing, I'm sure. And I heard you said you did yoga and your meditation
Yes.
this
I
morning.
love yoga.
And why is that
It's-
important in moments like this? Because I'm sure it helps you.
when I'm doing like the breathing, there's just something about that. And then when you have like the yoga music in the background, it also just helps. It's like an awakening melatonin.
So these two precious souls as well are here with you. Tell us about them.
Those are my two babies. That's Serenity and Sincere. This is when we went to the Mall of America. What was that, 2021?
Okay.
And I just wanted to take a picture in front of SpongeBob. But yeah, but those are my love bugs, and I'm grateful for them. I didn't think after Jemiah that I would have any children because I have PCOS,
Okay, what is PCOS? So everybody knows what that is.
Polycystic ovarian syndrome.
Okay.
So at some point I had cysts in my uterus and in my ovaries. Thankfully, there's no cyst in the uterus anymore, but I still have cysts on both my ovaries. So I had to, first and foremost, y'all, when you guys get a diagnosis like that after losing a child, right?
Right.
You, like I was already spiraling because, I was watching everybody else have kids. But then getting that diagnosis that it was going to be harder for me to have children just completely set me off.
Wow.
So I did what I had to do. I found out I had diabetes after that, which made things harder. I'm like, okay, take care of your diabetes, take care of these cysts, whatever. And it was finally 1 year where I finally just let it go because, warning, I'm just going to say warning. I was suicidal after I lost my daughter. I didn't want to live. There was just no point. And it was a year after I tried to do a home hysterectomy. On my 26th birthday is when I finally told God, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to keep stressing about this because it's not happening. So God, if you want me to have kids, I will. I let it go and I let God. Didn't talk about it after that. And then 3 months later, I was pregnant. So
when you finally let go, stop trying to deal with it yourself and trying to make your own narrative, God stepped in and gave you the desire of your heart.
And it was really interesting telling my family I was pregnant the month after that.
Okay. How was that? Tell us what that process was like.
So it was actually on April 20th. I was due to be a model for a music video, and I was really overjoyed. So I went to my sister's home. We went with the videographer to his home to get ready for the video. I made the announcement while we were eating jollof rice. Okay, that's some good rice.
Okay, I need to try that then. Some jollof rice. Okay.
Some jollof rice. Amazing. Then I told my sisters and the other people that were there that I was expecting.
What was the reaction?
They were happy. They were happy. I had told my mom earlier before we had left for the music video that I was pregnant, and my mother was ecstatic. She's like, "Holly, you finally getting what you want," and she was overjoyed. And then I got my first ultrasound, and there was baby A and baby B. Okay.
Wait. So you were pregnant with twins?
Twins initially, yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh my gosh. Okay.
And then I was excited, looking for twin stuff. The weeks went on. I was at my 16-week appointment, and only one of my babies had a heartbeat. And I'm just like, oh, again, this is happening again. Like another miscarriage. Great, right? But the second baby was healthy and jumpy, and I was like, okay, I lost one, but now I'm about to be worried the rest of this pregnancy because now I have to try to keep this baby alive.
Right. And those are everything you're saying is normal feelings and because it's like this has happened now. I'm going to be concerned for the rest of this time just for that reason, even though and we know that we're not supposed to worry. We're not supposed to be anxious for anything. We already know these things, but when the circumstances present themselves, it's kind of hard to put everything into play at that time, you know?
Exactly.
Interesting. So you do proceed on with the pregnancy and your baby, one of your children comes to this world healthy and alive, correct?
Yeah. There was something that happened in between that. When I was 6 months pregnant, my kid's father's mother passed. So it was
Lots
really,
of
really
traumatic
hard.
experiences, huh?
I
Man.
just don't.
So
She was a good woman. She was looking. That was my daughter. Is her first grand. So, I just remember going through all of that and.
So all of this while you're pregnant, one of your children passed away because he or she is still your child. He just didn't come here to this earth in that regard. So two of your children at this point have passed away, and you have two children as well that still remain here on this earth. So you are a mother of four children, correct?
In the living sense, so living, I've given birth to three children. Well, and then obviously Jemiah passed after that. So three children came out of me living. I've had over 10 miscarriages. So,
Oh my gosh. Okay.
so I'm supposed to be a mom of many.
I was
Thank
gonna
God
say
I'm
you're a
not.
mom of many, and you are a mom of many.
But I thank God I'm not, though. I'm not. Those miscarriages devastated me, but I thank God that they.
Well, okay, so I know we're talking about changing the narrative of the African American community, which we're going to deep
Yes.
dive into more throughout the second half here. But what advice would you give to mothers that are consistently experiencing miscarriage after miscarriage after miscarriage after miscarriage, and they're doing everything that they've been instructed to do by their medical physicians? They're taking the vitamins and living according to what they know is right to do, and still having these medical complications. What you've experienced this many times. What advice would you give to these women?
If you don't know what's wrong with your body, go check it out. A lot of women don't know that they may have like a thyroid problem or fibroid problem or cysts on their ovaries or something like that. So they're consistently having these problems because they don't know what's going on. So make sure you're going to the doctor. And if the doctor's telling you something that you don't believe is true, fight for yourself. I always tell people, yeah, these doctors, they have their I don't want to say little degrees because it's big.
Oh no, yeah, and I believe that God creates the doctors too, and their expertise as well. So I'm an advocate that whatever your gift and your talent is, utilize it to the best of possible ability here on this earth. So
Yes.
okay, go ahead.
But you are also you, and you also know your body. Although the doctor may have all this great knowledge, you also know who you are. So make sure that you are advocating for yourself.
Yes. Yes.
That's for some reason, us women, we used to be really quiet and stuff like that, but we can't be quiet anymore. We have to be able to talk for ourselves because, like I said, we ultimately know what's wrong.
That's right. That's right. Vanita said that she's so sorry for your loss. And Cynthia, I see a lot of hand claps, and I also see good morning, ladies, as well. Dr. Connie Green said that, yes, of course, I will connect with you today. And Tisdale said that that's a great description of the butterfly, the struggle to come to life. then we enter beautiful and bright. And Dr. Connie Green said this, so sorry that happened to you at 15. Your brain wasn't even developed to process your life and all that was happening to you. So lots of very heartfelt comments coming in. Another change of the narrative is us as Black women speaking up for ourselves with our physicians. Yes. And I actually go in to my physician with a notepad and or my device, my phone, and I have these topics that I want to cover, and I do not leave until I get those things addressed, because it's no need for me to have, like my grandma said, ain't no need to have no appointment and then you don't get your own stuff accomplished. So I advise that strongly for women. And I too had ovarian cysts as well, one that was so large on my left ovary that they removed a portion of my ovary during my emergency surgery. And I had just gotten married at that time, and they had a decision that had to be made whether I was going to pretty much survive and not have children, or anything could happen. Basically, they could leave the ovary, but anything could happen. Anyway, come to find out, I was told I would not have children at all. And guess what? I am a mother of 5. So I have 5 children that have come through my birth canal. And so the doctors can only tell you what they know, but what they know to be true. But at the end of the day, I have 5 children that came out of my body. And like Jemiah, one of my children is no longer here on this earth, and that's Gabriel, centered there in the middle. But I know he's smiling from heaven. I know that. Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah. I'm hugging you virtually. That's why I have to be in the studio sometime in person, because I'm just way too touchy-feely for all this virtual stuff only. I'm hugging you virtually. Listen, everybody, I want to take just a brief moment and let you know that the Kim Jacobs Show, the only way that we can continue to provide programming of this magnitude daily, every weekday at 11 o'clock a.m. is by donations and contributions from community members that tune in, that share the broadcast. And some of you do send in donations, and I truly appreciate it. But if you would take a moment and send us, you can screenshot it. You can do whatever to support the program. And when I see it, I will definitely give a shout out to you. Dr. Paulette Harper, I see that you did donate as well. And any of you all that donate, I'll see it. Samantha Benson, I see that you also sent in a contribution. So when you send in a contribution, I will always shout you out, okay? And say thank you for believing in the Kim Jacobs Show and allowing us to bring balance to the world, one household at a time. And Dr. Jody Bayer as well, thank you so much for your contribution to the Kim Jacobs Show. And our sponsors are also contributors as well. All right, so we're going to take another commercial break, and the rest of this episode, we want to talk more about how we're going to change the narrative of the Black community when we come right back after this commercial break. Are y'all enjoying the broadcast today? Are you learning anything? Some tips that are going to help you if you have a teen daughter that may be dealing with pregnancy and trying to hide it. This information she just shared, you want to have some candid conversations. Yeah. If you have a teen son that helped produce a baby and he's trying to hide it because it's not just about the girl, this information should be helpful that was shared today. Hold them equally accountable and help them become the best versions of themselves. If you've experienced miscarriages after miscarriages, this woman's advice today hopefully will empower you to speak up and find out how you can get some better solutions for your body and your situation, working collaboratively with your physicians. All right, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back. You ready for this, Holly, about the narrative when we come back?
Let's do this.
All right, we're getting ready to do this. Be back. And that's our episode sponsor, ConfidenceTones.com. To learn more about Confidence Tones, you can reach out to America's top health coach, Dr. Joe D. Bayer, at 800-820-0584, or visit drjoed.com. Let her know that the Kim Jacobs Show sent you her way. And we are also sponsored today by Getinsured.solutions. Getinsured.solutions provides you with, if you're dealing with a loved one and it's end of life and things that you need to be able to have insurance that would keep more of the income in your family's pocket versus having to put everything out in burial expenses and out all of those type of required expenses, you definitely want to reach out to Samantha Benson at 704-499-3616 and let her know that the Kim Jacobs Show sent you her way. All right, talk to us about changing this narrative in the African American community.
So our community, the only thing that's changed in our community is technology. We are still doing the same things that we were doing way back when, but we just have cell phones. People are sneakier. People are more conniving. But we have a chance because technology has advanced.
Yes.
And because more people are more open to mental health and stuff, we have a chance to change. So that's where me and Morning Mimosas comes from.
Okay.
So if I can just tell you guys a little bit about that. Morning Mimosas was created because morning means awaken, right?
Yes.
And I want to awaken the people. It's time for that. We've been asleep for too long. And then mimosas, I like to drink. So
Okay.
I like mimosas. So we've got to start by, we all know that back then our parents used to tell us, oh, it's a child needs to be seen and not heard.
Right.
That needs to change, y'all.
Okay. So you think that is something that's a myth? You think actually a child needs to be heard and seen? Okay.
Yes. And the reason I say that is because they're humans just like us. So why is it that they're not able to express whatever feelings that they have?
Right.
Why do we have to shut their feelings out? Because, oh, that's you a child, you don't know.
Children know a whole lot more than we give them credit for. You can give a phone to a 2-year-old and they know how to move more and maneuver better than most adults. I'm like, how can they know that at their age? But they're equipped with what they need in a lot of instances. Interesting. Yeah. So heard and seen so that their voices matter is what I'm hearing you say.
Yeah. So they don't become these adults who are just angry at the world, don't know how to express themselves, just bitter and angry. We have to feed and pour into our children, y'all. We have to pour into our babies so they're healthy adults. They'll be able to express themselves in healthy manners, not going out here being gangsters and thugs. Sorry, I have to say it like that because it's the truth. I can only give y'all the truth.
And you know what? And the interesting part, when I hear people say like gangsters and thugs, maybe it's just because of where I'm from. I know some gangsters and thugs that are very, 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 I don't even know the right word. They're very, they know how to manage their stuff in life better than some people that would not necessarily categorize themselves as a gangster or a thug, but their business acumen is on point in some regards. It's like, can that gangster thug please come and train me on some stuff? Because whatever you're doing over there is working. And I do believe though too that God will reign on the just and the unjust, and all of everything that's in the Word of God. I believe the Word of God, and I stand true to that.
Amen.
That's what I believe. But and not but in regard, because nothing that I'm saying now is going to take away from me believing in the Word of God. Let me say that. I do believe, in addition to that who God created all of us. And so at the end of the day, I don't know what God has intended or who he's going to reach through somebody and what their walk is versus what my walk is. So I just be trying to figure out for myself anyway, how do I walk that fine line? Because I love all of God's people, but I don't want to be hurt by nobody. I don't want to be hurt by a thug or by somebody that's considered a spiritual guru person. I don't care who you are. I don't want to be hurt by that person. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Anyway, I think I derailed. Go ahead.
No, it's perfectly fine.
So we're
No,
talking
it's
about the
just
Black community and the narrative. And so anybody in the audience, make sure y'all share your points too. How do you think we can change the narrative of the Black community? Type some comments and share your thoughts. Go ahead, Holly.
so because everybody wants to be like a rapper and stuff like that, but why not trying to guide our kids to be something more? I'm not saying be like a doctor or engineer or anything like that, but just encouraging our children that there is other things you can do. Yeah, you can be a rapper, right? But how about you do that other business venture while you do that too? So making sure that you have your plan A and your plan B if it doesn't work out. We're just so stuck on what we see on the media.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and
what people see on social media is only what people want you to see on social media. No, when I get up out of bed, I do not get up and show you all crud coming down my aisle or a slobber. I don't do that. Nobody does that. So you're only showing people what you want them to see. So it's not like a reality show where people are really getting the real true behind the scenes of every waking moment of your life. So we all have to be mindful of that. Even though I think people know that, it's just that we still are intrigued by even the glamour that they are willing to share on social media. So it's a catch-22 because when you're scrolling through all those reels and stuff, it's like, I want to see what in the world is this? Don't you?
It's just really, really interesting though. And then with our community specific, I mean, we see it with other communities too, but I'm talking about the community that I was born into specifically. Mm-hmm. A lot of these shows paint us in a very negative light. Catty, fighting each other over men, money, and stuff like that. And we see that in real life too. We don't just see it on TV. We see it, not in my everyday life, but we do see it on social media and people's everyday lives. And we have to cut that narrative too, because what are we fighting each other for?
It's so good that you're saying this, because at the end of the day, it's not just on these reality shows that are out here. The shows, some of these movies and shows are based on real life events. And so my whole thing is, and again, I'm only Kim telling you Kim's opinion. I'm not
Okay.
I'm a person. I'm not representing the show in this regard. I'm just telling you my personal opinion, just like Holly's telling you her personal opinion. So you all put your own personal opinion too in the comments. But I feel like you can't produce something or share something that's not there. Here, I'm basing it on the fact that you acting a fool. So as a result of that, then that's what we're going to air, because that's what's happening behind the scenes. So don't do it if you don't want it to be. I don't know how to explain it other than this is what I've learned. Everything that I do in my life that I have any level of regret about is something that, because I'm a big believer, don't do anything that I can't put on the front page of a newspaper. I do say that a lot, and I believe that. But at the end of the day, if some of the things that have ever happened in my life do get put on the front page of a newspaper, then it's like, if it's true, it's true. If it's not, then I will fight it to the end, because I don't want nobody lying on me either. You know what I'm saying? I'll be like, that's not true. That piece right there is not true. But the other piece, yeah, that is true. What are your thoughts on that? As far as just being able to not have the narrative even there for people to paint the picture of something. How can you paint the picture of something that doesn't exist?
Exactly. And exactly. It's also a capitalism thing, but that's for a whole nother episode. But it's also a money thing.
Okay.
But we have to change that behavior though. I'm going to use this as an example. Two beautiful women, right? Mm-hmm. Both successful, but fighting over a man.
You can have him. No, I do not want. I will not fight over nobody's man, even if he's supposed to be my man. I don't even think you need to address the women about anything pertaining to somebody that you saying is your man. If he's your man, then you need to deal with him directly, not nobody's other women.
Exactly. Why do we especially Black women, why do we fight? I'm saying other races do this too, but why do us Black? Why do we do that when we can come together? It's better. What is the phrase? Together, united, divided, we fall.
Right.
Let that man fall, and y'all come together, be this empire. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying you have to be friends with each other. I'm just saying Black women need to come together more. It just seems like we're more divided than we are together.
Friends. Guess what? A lot of times it is the friends that are the problem with your spouses or your boyfriends or whatever the case may be. And so I don't really consider that kind of person a friend anyway, once you come into the knowledge of the truth.
Seriously, it's disgusting. Mental health.
Disgusting. You're so funny. Your yoga has kicked in, Holly. You're like, yeah, that is quite disgusting.
It's horrible. I'm actually going to do an African accent for this next one. Mental health is very important for us.
Yeah, it is.
If we don't take care of our mental health, we go crazy. That was just for entertainment, y'all. But mental health is important, you guys. Our parents.
I think mental health is probably part of the grassroots of the underlying thing that would help change the narrative of the Black community is if we can gain better control, and it won't be even necessarily through our own initiatives or efforts personally, outside of being able to get the help that we need to be able to be the best selves that we're created to be. And I may be saying that real botchy, but the point is, sometimes we need to go beyond ourselves to be able to get additional outside people and people that are experts in those areas to step in and intervene to help when you may not know how to get what you need out of your own life at that phase of your life.
Yeah, agreed. And then, I mean, most of us grew up with oh, you sad? Deal with it.
Oh gosh, we've heard that a lot. It's like, you need to suck it up. It's like, what up? I mean, I'm hurting. This is a painful situation. This is devastating. What am I going to suck up right now? I don't understand what that philosophy is all about. It's like, no, I want to cry. I want to punch something. I'm so angry right now. And it's okay to be angry, but not hurt somebody if you can, don't do that.
Right. Oh, and it's just really, really hurtful that instead of getting your kids the resources, right, to help with whatever issues that may have. You don't know if your child has an underlying bipolar issue. You don't know if your child has major depressive issues. You don't know if, God forbid, what's the big one? Schizophrenic. You don't know until you actually go look into those things, but you're considered weak when you go look for help. I just want to ask the first Black person that ever said that, oh, you weak for getting help. That person probably never had help a day in their life.
Right. You're saying so many powerful things on this show today. And I do think that if people are taking notes and listening, they really can help change the narrative. But I think the narrative changes with us individually. Yeah. Individually, just saying, I'm not worried about trying to change the world. I have to first make sure I get the help that I need, so that even as I'm attempting to change the world and one person at a time that I impact across this journey, that I'm sharing from a overflow, is what my mother, Patricia Lofton, is one of our church state mothers, says often. She said, listen, baby, you cannot pour from an empty cup. You have to get your cup filled first, then pour from the overflow. That's what you can give to other people. So imagine a cup and it's full, and then all of the excess, that's what you're going to start pouring out to other people to pour into their lives.
Amen.
So I see a lot of comments that came in. Let's acknowledge some of them. Dosage of death.
Yeah.
Oh, this is so true, Kay says. Yeah. And Tisdale says, also the promotion of healthier meal choices could be helpful to our health. Fast food, while being easy to help feed our family, contains the dosage of death. Okay, and so then that's where Kay is saying I was wondering, where did the dosage of death come from? But I'm gonna tell y'all, Chick-fil-A Got some good some good chicken tenders, some chicken nuggets, and they are nice and fresh and hot, and I eat those. I love them. Anyway, and unsweets, yeah, but anyway, let's see. Kay says our entertainment definitely mirrors that harmful narrative we need to end. Yeah. We need more creators telling different stories. We need more sci-fi, more rom-coms, romance and comedies. Okay. Without struggle, love, etc. Black people aren't a monolith and we are all different, but the screen tries to paint us the same. Any thoughts on what that's what you were saying?
Do you? Oh, child, Kay, love you, girl. That is so true.
Yeah.
Oh God, it's like I hate when they say, "Oh, all black people like chicken."
Well, I don't know too many black folks that don't like chicken. Though, do you? You don't like chicken?
No, I love me some chicken. I'm just,
Okay, I was like, what? Just two black
I
folk
just
right here.
hate.
I love chicken. I'm not gonna. I mean, I like, but it's not like I love it. I love salmon. Actually, if you want to know a meal that I really like, I love salmon. I love
salmon too.
pasta, spaghetti, and stuff. I can't eat it that much because of continue to boop, 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 boop. But I do love chicken too, especially if my mama cooking some great fried chicken. It's delicious. These wings. Mwah. Anyway, some things I agree too with what you're saying, Tisdale, that we need to stop gossiping, negativity, and harmful antics that promote positivity and start promoting positivity and health. Yes. That's great. This is all a great conversation. I put a link there in case anybody wanted to pop on for this last 2 minutes and say a quick comment. You're more than welcome to. I believe that if we want less people pouring into professions of expressions, that we have to create more spaces for children and adults to be heard and truly seen.
Okay.
Yeah. All of these are great. All of these are great points. Yeah. All right. Well, Holly, I think that what you're sharing is people speaking up. What's some other things I could go back and say everything I already said, but I want to hear any more from you.
So in general, guys, we have to want better for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
We know that we deserve better, yet we don't do better. What's the phrase? If we know better, we do better.
Yes, if we knew better, we would do better. Yep.
So we need to start that now. We should have started this a long time ago, but
But how do people learn to know better? What can they do to know better so that they can start taking those baby steps towards getting better?
Start changing the things that you seen your parents do. That's the first thing.
Somebody make note of that. Start doing the things that you see your parents do, or the things that you see your parents do that you didn't like, and start changing those.
Changing that. Yep. Okay. Start changing the things that you did not like when you were growing up.
Very good point. So if you felt like your parents didn't spend enough time with you, start spending time with your children more. If you feel like you felt abandoned because maybe one parent wasn't there in your life the way, then make yourself be there in the moment more with your own children. And how do you do that? Maybe cutting the devices off, doing some board games, and maybe going to some special events that are important to your children. I actually wrote a book called Extreme Balance Makeover, and I have a few copies here in this bookcase back here. So if any of you all are interested in getting a copy of it, it shares all kinds of tips on how you can balance different aspects of your life. You can go to kimjacobshow.com, and if you want an electronic copy, it's only $3.99, and I'll send you that via email electronically if you want to download it to your device. But in there is all of the tips that I shared on NBC as their balance expert, balancing a parent-teen relationship, how to balance life after retirement, life after divorce, and life after you may have had a child transition from this earth, all kinds of things. Actually, when I wrote those tips and shared those tips, some of those aspects of my life hadn't even happened. And now some of them are my reality as well. And it's interesting. The narrative changes when it happens to you. You know that too? It changes a whole lot. More than just some book knowledge, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
So, Holly, tell us what your life is like now. What is life like for you now, being a mom? And tell us your life. And we're getting ready to end, but I just want to hear the beautiful outcome here.
So my life now is becoming exactly what I need it to be. Starting this podcast and starting my nonprofit to help with everything that I'm trying to do, help parents who have been in my situation, I can sit here and talk for hours and hours and hours about what my nonprofit's going to be for, but
And the nonprofit, tell us the name of it.
Justice Awakened.
Justice Awakened is going to be her nonprofit organization that she's going to be helping women that are in similar situations that she's experienced. And this is Holly Sisa. How do they stay connected with you, Holly?
You guys can find me on Facebook via my government name. I know how y'all are. The government name, Holly Sisa, and then the descriptions below are for the Morning Mimosas, Instagram and Facebook. Please follow us on there and continue supporting platforms such as mine and Miss Jacob's platforms, because we are here trying to do what's necessary to make sure that we make an actual change. We're not just here talking about it, we're actually doing it.
That's beautiful, beautiful. And now her social media handles, because I do have people on iHeartRadio and Spotify and iTunes and stuff. Okay, so keep in mind that's facebook.com/Morning Mimosas Colorado. Morning Mimosas Colorado. And then on Instagram, it is Morning Mimosas CO. That's how you'll stay connected with Holly Sisa. And I did want to just play this one clip that was today's message, if I'm not mistaken, that you had put on the Morning Mimosa channel.
Tuesdays are a chance for a new beginning and a new perspective, so make them count.
All right. Again, because you might sometimes, in the blink of an eye, you miss it. One more time.
Tuesdays are a chance for a new beginning and a new perspective, so make them count.
So what are you going to make count today in your life? What's your perspective that you're going to make your day be the best day that it can ever be from this day forward? Because it's however you're going to make it be. Yeah.
So how I'm going to make my day the greatest is me choosing to do so. You make it a great day or not, the choice is yours.
That's right. And every day we have a choice. Life is full of choices. So I'm glad that you chose, especially on very short notice, to come and be a blessing here on the Kim Jacobs Show. You really did make a difference here today. So thank you for sharing your journey.
Thank you, Miss Jacobs. I appreciate it. The last minute, I'm glad to be here.
Thank you, Mrs. Sisa. I appreciate it. And thank you for sharing your story with us. And thank you all in the virtual studio audience for tuning in today. We look forward to seeing you again right here on the Kim Jacobs Show. Oh, I do want to share my one last episode sponsor with you, and that's Getinsured.solutions. Let me share them with
you. Nothing says I love you more than final expense insurance whole life protection. With funeral advocacy nationwide, saving you and your family 30 to 80% off funerals and cremations. Nothing says I love you more than Getinsured.solutions, LLC. Getinsured.solutions, 704-499-3616.
All right, everyone. And that is our show for today, Changing the Narrative for the Black Community, with Holly Sisa, who was here today from Morning Mimosa, Colorado. And I am hoping that you'll stay connected with her. And I'll look forward to seeing you again tomorrow at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on the Kim Jacobs Show. Have a great day, everybody. Have a great day, Holly.
Have a great day. Yeah. Thank you guys so much.
Thank y'all in the studio audience. You were amazing. All right. Bye-bye. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of the Kim Jacobs Show and for being in the virtual studio audience. Your presence truly does make a difference. And I look forward to you bringing your friends and family to join you in the virtual studio audience Monday through Friday.